Hello there. I'm doing this on live, but I've put it on private for now, and I'll put it on public later because I can't use my other camera at night because it's too dark and it doesn't show up properly. So I thought I'll just use the camcorder, which means I've got to do a live talk on here. And then, you know, because I'm getting disturbed all the time at the moment, I can't actually do a live tonight. And I wanted to do one because it's Sunday. And I wanted to make Sunday the day where I just have a chat with everyone. But at the moment, I've got a Steve next door back in town. Oh, I just wanted to chat to you and all this, but and then my phone's going off all the time. So I thought just this is the only way I can do it. So if anyone disturbs me, I can just turn it off or tell them to get lost. But anyway, the talk today is, are we becoming a nation of loners? Now, I've been around for 55 years in this body, and I have never seen so many people becoming hermits in my life. And it's not just an age thing, it's young people, it's children, it's the elderly, it's all ages, and it's male and female. And I'm seeing more and more people just becoming disillusioned, and I don't know what it is. Obviously, there's lots of different reasons for it. You can blame part of it on this sort of thing, technology. We spend more time in front of a TV or a telephone, mobile phones, computers, gaming systems, and so that's part of it. But the other part is it's something else, because if somebody says to me, and people like me now, I'll just get that off there. If people say to us, there's a fantastic night out going on tomorrow night, and it's absolutely amazing, and you'll have a great time. I know more and more people that think I would love to go, but when it comes down to it, you can't be bothered. And I've talked myself out of so many things, like, oh, we could have gone out and had a really good night out, but on the night, I just sit there and think, do I really want to be bothered with anybody? And it's really quite sad, because we need each other, and we need community, and we need to get back that sense of belonging to somebody. And as a child, I mean, one of the events I remember as a child was I think it was the Silver Jubilee, and it had been like 1977 or 79. And I remember there being a street party, and loads of the women on the street did a bake off. And they came out and put all the tables out, and they put them all in a long line on the street. And then they bought cakes and biscuits and trifles and biscuits. It was amazing. And all the children were only there for the food. We didn't care about the Queen. We're not interested in royalty, but they had all the flags all down the road and all the bunting. And it was great fun. But I was only there for the food. But all the adults were all huddled together, and everybody was having a really nice time. And they invited people that they didn't usually talk to as well. It was like an open door for everybody, and everybody came. And I remember there being, I don't even know how many people, about 50, and they was all having such a great time. And then I remember the what else went on? Oh, the royal wedding where Princess Di, again, another big party on the street. Everybody was super excited. My dad sent me to the shop that day, I'll never forget. And he said, can you go and get me a packet of cigarettes and some milk and something else? I can't remember what it was. And I lost his cigarettes on the way home and I got done. But do you know, it's funny because back then you could go to the shop for cigarettes for your parents and no one cared. You could buy everything. But I just remember everybody feeling part of something. And we knew all our neighbours anyway back then. And even if you didn't like each other, or you didn't really want to bother with anybody. Everybody still knew that if you needed anything, they'd all be there. And we always went round to each other's houses for cups of sugar and things like that. Everybody was always borrowing off each other. But what's happened to us all? Why have we become like this to a point where we've got children not playing out, and it's because they don't want to. We've got teenagers. I mean, to be fair, teenager here. I didn't leave my bedroom for 5 years because I hated everyone, and I did not want to go out because all I ever got was bullied, and I was sick of it. And it was like, I can't cope with the world. I don't like the world, and I never have. So the reason why I've always been like this, not taking part in the world itself, is because I don't like most people. Now, it's a funny thing because you can get to a certain point where you think, I just don't like anybody. I don't like people, but that's actually not true. What we don't like is being around people who are not part of our tribe, because we're all different, but people like me need substance. And I can't cope with small talk and being around people who just want to gossip and chat about nothing. I like delving into things and I like to learn from people. So we can think it's because we don't like people, but actually, I think a lot of it is we need to be around our type of people. And the more open minded you get, and the more you turn away from belief systems, the more outcast you become. And it's partly society outcast you, and it's partly you don't want any dealings with them, because I don't want to be around like women who are shallow, and I don't like being around men who are shallow, and I don't want to hang around with someone who just wants to flirt and be stupid with me. I like substance, and I like people who I can share things with, and where we can just discuss things and have a laugh and not take life too seriously all the time, because we've got to have time for fun as well. And I think sometimes you can get to a point where you just get stuck in a rut. And I remember when I was younger, sometimes I'd cling on to people longer than I wanted to, in a way, because I thought, well, if I don't have you, I don't have no one. And it was the thought of being alone. And so I'd tolerate people that didn't really like me. And I'd only hang out with them just because it was somebody to hang out with and it was just a bit of company. But I'd go home feeling drained and quite empty because I didn't get much out of it. See, I don't like, there's the times when I've been offered a night out with women when I was younger, and they'd say, let's go out and have some fun. And I'd go out, and all they wanted to do was sit there slating other women and flirting with the men. And I didn't want not to do with any of it. And I'm like, I don't belong here. I don't belong in this crowd of people because I don't like drinking and I don't dance and I'm not interested in that music. This is not for me. And then I'd say, what else can I do? And while I've been up here, I've joined a few groups, but I don't go to them all the time. I just go when I can be bothered. And it's not all the time. But when I do go, I sort of, sometimes I can be sat in a room full of people and just not connect with anybody, because the only thing that we've got in common is the subject matter of why we're there. So if it's, say, an art class, we're all there because we want to do art. But I don't have anything in common with people outside of it. I used to do things at the church, but when you stop being religious, you're not part of them either, because you just want to keep telling them all that you think it's all a con and that they're being brainwashed, and it's not the right place to be talking like that. So it's not my place to tell other people what to believe or what to do. So I can't hang out with people. And then other women my age who I've met up here are like me, and they say the same thing. We go to work and we come home, we make us tea, and then we don't want to see nobody because we've been out in the town or whatever during the day, and you might have only seen 5 people and said hello, but that's enough for now. So we're like, and it's funny because we all actually get on really well, and they say we should actually meet up and have coffee, but we're all the same. Like we'll arrange a meet up, and then on the day, none of us can be bothered to go because we've had too many too many people today to deal with. So this park opens in 4 weeks, 3 weeks, and I do like it when the park's open because we've got some great people come here, and I do like the people, and we have a laugh. But at the same time, as soon as my shift is finished, I'm like, leave me alone, and then I just want to go home and be left by myself. So it's quite funny. But why are people becoming like this? And I was watching the video of the Chinese, and I've forgotten what they call them now, but there's a name for all the teenagers that don't go out of the room, and they all live at home with their moms, but none of them leave home. They just stay in the bedrooms, and they even wee in bottles because they can't be bothered to go to the bathroom, and they're all addicted to these computer games and everything. But you just don't have much of a social thing going on anymore. And I was talking to somebody at work over week, and I said, "Do you know this winter's been quite weird because I don't get lonely, but this year I did. I went through a spell of feeling really alone, and I'm like, I don't like how I'm feeling." And it's past now because now I'm thinking, oh, great, the sun's come out today. So I've got loads of things in my mind to do. I want to get my pitch cleared off where my caravan is and make a nice garden there. Then I've got my polytunnel to sort out. Then when it is really nice, I can go kayaking and go for some jaunts and everything else. But it's really funny. I don't need people around me most of the time, and I can go on little day trips with the dogs, and I'm not bothered about somebody not being there with me. It's just funny, but I've met so many people like that, and yet there are people that are sat at home and they're so lonely, and I feel so sorry for them because they've got nobody there, and they don't know how to reach out and say, I need some company, and I just want a friend. And now I've got a car, and I have got some spare time. And if I knew there was someone around me who I knew I'd get on with in that position, I would say, "Do you want to come out for a ride in the car with me? And I'll take you for a trip somewhere. We'll just go for a coffee or a little walk in woods or on the beach or something." But it's really sad. So some people are in behind closed doors because they've got no choice, sort of thing, because they don't feel they belong anywhere, and they've got no friends, and they don't know how to socialize because it's a difficult thing to do it. If I don't talk to people for a long time, I find it very hard to get myself motivated to go and talk to someone because I just can't be bothered, and I don't know how to do it. It's like you lose that knack to communicate with somebody. And I mean, look at me now, sitting here babbling and chatting all the time, and I can do this non-stop, and I can sit and listen to people for hours as well. But I just can't be bothered to make any effort sometimes. It's just funny. But why are younger people like this? Because usually, I mean, in the past, for young people, they were it was like an urge to go out because that's where you met the girls and the boys, and that's where you had the fun, and you'd hang out in the dance halls, and it was full of laughter. And then the elderly ones that down pub or bingo or things like this. But more and more people are saying I can't be bothered to go out, and I just can't motivate, and I don't know what's wrong with me. But it's like the world has stopped outside of the house, and it only goes on inside the house now. And during that period of time, which we can't mention on here, where everybody was staying inside, I think a lot of people got addicted to it. And it was like they were saying, "Oh, we're catching up on things we've never had chance to do, and I'm getting paid to stay at home, so I don't want to go out anyway." And then people were finding that they had skills and talents they didn't know they had, and so they'd just sit at home with it and just try and find some other niche to get involved in. And some people loved it, and they got a lot out of it. But when it was like, right, you can go back out now and do whatever you want, the amount of people that have not bothered it's, I think you just get addicted to being by yourself. Or are people not going out because they're scared, because they haven't got over that time, because they believed it, and because they believed it, it's still there, that threat, and it's scary to go outside into it. But I have noticed, in like, even in town, you know, say on a Saturday, like I went out shopping yesterday, and it was still pretty quiet, and I thought that's a bit strange, really, because normally it's quite busy, especially on a Saturday. But no, it was pretty quiet, and I thought, are people just opting to stay at home? I just don't know. I mean, we'll find out soon when the park opens here how many people come, because when the legislations or whatever they want all calmed down a few years back, and they said, right, you can all go out again, we got a massive influx all year of locals coming on holiday. So all the Scottish people came here on the park, and it was jam packed for all season. And I've never seen so many people. And yet they all believed in this thing, and yet they've all sat next to each other in vans and talking. And I couldn't stop laughing, because I thought, it's so ironic that you're scared of something, but you'll still go on a holiday. But once everything got forgotten about, because it always does, because there's always something new to be scared of, isn't there? Like, we've got that thing, that's a big scary thing there, getting a runny nose and a little bit of a temperature. But now that we're not scared of that, we've got to be scared of something else. So what is it now? And if you open your mind and you look around you and stuff, you start to see that there's this game that's being played, and this game is to keep you in constant fear. And if you're scared, do you want to go outside? And the answer is usually no, because it's a scary place out there, isn't it? We've got bad people, and there's all this like weather conditions going on, this global warming. Oh, dearie me. Well, if you believe that, I just, there's just nothing to say. You do or you don't. But one of my biggest fantasies right now is for all the TV networks to go down and the radio networks to go down, and for all the printing machines to go down that release all the newspapers, because all you'd have left is your own eyes, and all you would see is what is out there. And what is out there, actually, in most places, is actually not that bad. But you're told it's a scary place, right? And if you believe that, then why do you want to go out into a scary place? I feel sorry for people who've got a scary place at home, because not everybody has that peace at home. And I've gone through periods in my life where I've not wanted to go home, because what's waiting when you get there, and it's a horrible feeling. But if your home is your sanctuary, then why are you bothered? Why go outside if you don't have to, type thing. And it is funny. Do you know, during that time though that I'm talking about, when everyone was staying at home, we've got about 5 locals round here who were dead belligerent, and I love them. And they'd used to come straight onto the park with the bikes and just pedal all around the park. And you'd have these lot running after them going, get off the park, get off the park. Don't you know that there's a going on and we're all going to die, type thing? And I was laughing, and I'm like, they don't care. And I was celebrating them behind the back. I'm like, yes, because they didn't care. They were like, you're not going to stop me riding my bike, and you're not going to stop me going outside. But most people did stay in. And now everything's back to what you call normal. And this, if this is what we call normal, I mean, well, it's a bit of an anticlimax for a lot of people because normal's not enough. And what is going on? But what do you think anyway? Are you one of these people that have opted out? If you look on YouTube, there's a massive influx of people living in cars, vans, tents, and just going off traveling forever because they've had enough of the world and they just don't want no to do with anybody. And some of these people are on their own, even young women, and they're not talking to people because they're out in the wilderness away from everybody, and they've just what's happened, that we just don't want anyone anymore. Is it what I've said earlier? It's not that we don't want people, it's we don't want to be around false people anymore, and we want to be with our tribe. And if you met your tribe, the people that you can laugh and dance with and sing with and be stupid with and have long, serious conversations, would you want to go out? Would you want to socialize again? Would you feel alone if you met somebody you could really be yourself with? And are we just lonely because we haven't met those people? And what is the difference between being lonely and being alone? Because you can love your own company and love being by yourself, but lonely is something different. Lonely is a state of mind. Lonely is where you just feel really bad about yourself and everything. And so, what do you think? I'm just, like I said, I'm just trying this out now, this camera, to see if it works just as like a normal camera, so I can do a vlog. But the nights are getting lighter. There's going to come a point when, you can sit here at 8, 9 o'clock at night and I'll be able to do a vlog because it'll be nice and bright. But you live in a little dark caravan with your fairy lights and you can't even see your hand in front of your face sometimes. So, yeah, I'm going to go for now, but I will see you again soon and have a good day.